Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir. I rise this afternoon, Honorable Speaker, to oppose Constitutional Amendment Bill number 3. Mr. Speaker, sir, I do so not out of partisan obligation, not out of political convenience or political expedience, and certainly not out of hostility, Mr. Speaker, sir, to constitutional reform. I do so, Honorable Speaker, because this bill strikes at the very core of our constitutional democracy. At the outset, Mr. Speaker, let me debunk a notion that we have heard being advanced by the proponents of this bill. A notion that the opposers of the bill suggest that constitutional reform is a nullity, or constitutional reform must not happen in modern democracies. That is not the point we wish to make, Mr. Speaker, before this House today. Constitutional reform, Mr. Speaker, by its very nature must be progressive. Constitutions can and must indeed be amended in order to suit the aspiration of the modern community and modern society. So the question is not whether or not constitutions must be amended. Honorable Speaker said the question is what sort of amendments must be entertained in a modern democracy. The Constitution of Zimbabwe, Mr. Speaker said, as it currently stands, is not an ordinary statute. It is not a party manifesto. It is not a government program. It is the supreme covenant between the people and those entrusted with the exercise of political power. The Constitution, Mr. Speaker, says exists for one fundamental purpose: to limit power, to distribute power, and to make power accountable to the people. Honorable Speaker, the Constitution of 2013 was not handed to Zimbabweans by politicians. It emerged from struggle. It emerged from sacrifice. It emerged from decades of demand for accountable government, democratic participation, constitutional restraint, and the protection of fundamental rights. The story of constitutional reform in Zimbabwe is written in the resistance against one-party state ambitions. It is written in the struggle for labor rights. It is written in the struggle for democratic renewal. It is written in the constitutional reform movement that culminated in the 2013 Constitution. Mr. Speaker, sir, the framers of the Constitution understood a simple but profound truth. Democracy is strongest when power is limited, accountable, and periodically renewed. Honorable Speaker, Constitutional Amendment Bill number 3 proposes fundamental changes to the architecture of our democracy. It extends the term of office of the President from 5 years to 7 years. It extends the life of Parliament from 5 years to 7 years. It postpones elections accordingly. It removes the direct election of the President by the people and bestows that power in Parliament. It restructures electoral administration. It expands executive influence within institutions of governance, and it weakens or abolishes constitutional oversight institutions. Taken individually, Mr. Speaker, sir, these clauses may appear technical, but taken together, they reveal a pattern. What pattern is that? It is a pattern of centralization, a pattern of concentration, a pattern of reducing the frequency with which political power must account to the people. Honorable Speaker, sir, democracy is not merely about elections. Democracy is about accountability. And accountability requires regular opportunities for citizens to review those that they put in power. That is why term limits matter. That is why election cycles matter. That is why constitutional safeguards matter, Mr. Speaker. The memorandum accompanying this bill advances a number of justifications. We are told, Mr. Speaker, that the amendments are there and are necessary to promote stability, continuity, institutional efficiency, political inclusivity, and long-term development. This is what we are told. Attractive, Mr. Speaker, as these words and promises might sound, constitutional democracies must always interrogate not merely the language of reform, but the consequences of reform. History, Mr. Speaker, teaches us that constitutional changes aimed at extending tenure are almost never presented as projects for consolidation. They are almost always presented as projects of stability, continuity, and development, as we are told in the memorandum to this bill. Mr. Speaker said, the question that is before this House is therefore not whether development is desired. The question that is before this House is whether development requires the weakening of institutions of democracy. The evidence from constitutional scholarship, and I speak as a constitutional law expert, Mr. Speaker, across Africa, countries that have respected constitutional term limits have generally built stronger democratic institutions than countries that have weakened or removed them. Research on presidential term limits in Africa demonstrates that constitutional succession contributes significantly to democratic consolidation and institutional development. Mr. Speaker, the African Center for Strategic Studies has observed, Mr. Speaker, that countries that weaken or circumvent constitutional term limits tend to experience higher levels of corruption, weaker accountability systems, and increased governance challenges. Honorable Speaker, constitutional development across Africa teaches us one fundamental lesson. Strong nations are built by strong institutions, not by extended incumbencies. The framers of modern constitutions understood one thing, that executive...
Point of order. Point of order.
Yes, Honorable.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I just want to correct the honorable member. He says here countries...
Order.
Yes, sir.
I can't recognize. What's your name again?
Honorable Muringazua.
Honorable?
Muringazua.
Ngazua, yes.
Yes, sir. It's a point of order. My point of order is the honorable member here.
Can you listen?
The honorable member here has made a fallacy here. He says countries that have extended terms have actually gone down, according to, I don't know what language is used here, but that was the implication. But when you look at Rwanda, Rwanda did the same thing, and today Rwanda is one of the most developed nations in Africa as we speak.
Thank you. Order. Yes, we must be careful of generalizing. Like in Africa, the template is not the same in the whole of Africa in terms of term limits. So if we may say some countries in Africa.
Indebted, Mr. Speaker, I do understand that scholarly debate is difficult for some members. Mr. Speaker, the
Honorable
Minister of
Member,
Justice.
That's an insinuation which is negative in terms of honorable debate.
I withdraw, Mr. Speaker, for purposes of
I
continuity.
thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, the allegation around the African context is not plucked from thin air. It derives from scholarly research by the Africa Center for Strategic Studies. If anyone has an opposition to that assertion or study, they must present a counter study and convince this House why this bill is good. Honorable Speaker, constitutional developments across Africa has told us that leadership renewal in many democracies occur not because incumbents voluntarily surrender power, but because constitutional safeguards require them to do so. This is precisely why term limits exist. Not because leaders are necessarily bad, not because continuity is undesirable, but because democracy assumes that no individual, however capable they are, should become indispensable to constitutional order. Mr. Speaker, what are we told? We are told that Vision 2030 requires continuity. I respectfully submit, Mr. Speaker, that if national visions depend upon the continuity of particular office holders, then what we have is not institutional development, but personalized development. Mr. Speaker, I submit with respect that a national vision should belong to the nation. It should survive presidents. It should survive parliaments. It should survive changes in governance. It should survive, Honorable Speaker, any partisan interests. A bit of comparative constitutional debate. Botswana's development, Mr. Speaker, did not depend on one president. Ghana's democratic consolidation did not depend on one president. Mauritius' economic success, Honorable Speaker, did not depend on one president, and the Speaker is well-traveled, knows these issues. Their progress was sustained by institutions capable of carrying national programs across successive administrations. Mr. Speaker, the Constitution should strengthen institutions so that national development survives leadership change. It should not alter constitutional safeguards so that leadership survives beyond ordinarily set term limits. Honorable Speaker, there is another dangerous proposition embedded in the rationale advanced for this bill. The suggestion that democracy and development exist in tension, and that constitutional limitations may be relaxed in pursuit of developmental objectives. Mr. Speaker, with respect, that is a farce. It's false, it's wrong. It's a false dichotomy. Zimbabwe does not have to choose between democracy and development. Zimbabweans deserve both, Mr. Speaker. Development without accountability is fragile. Development without constitutional restraint is unsustainable. Development without legitimacy ultimately undermines itself. Mr. Speaker, the Constitution is not an obstacle to national progress. The Constitution is one of the preconditions for national progress. The Constitution, Mr. Speaker, is the people's last line of defense. Honorable Speaker, I am particularly troubled as I take this plane to land. I am particularly troubled by the provisions relating to Section 328, subsection 7. The framers of the Constitution, Mr. Speaker, deliberately inserted safeguards preventing incumbents from benefiting from amendments that extend tenure. They understood the temptation that power presents. They understood that those that possess authority often seek to extend it, as we see today. Section 328, subsection 7, Mr. Speaker, was therefore designed to ensure constitutional neutrality. that is what is threatened today, Mr. Speaker. It was designed to ensure that constitutional amendments do not become an instrument for self-extension. Yet this bill seeks to provide that the very incumbents who are presently in office, the President, Parliament, councils, they may benefit from the extension of tenure. We must cringe, Mr. Speaker, as a nation by such suggestions. We must ask ourselves honestly, if constitutional safeguards can simply be overridden whenever it becomes convenient, what purpose do they then serve? What then remains of constitutional restraints? What then remains of constitutional supremacy, Mr. Speaker? Honorable Speaker, I also oppose the proposal to remove direct election of the president. This is because one of the most profound changes by this bill. In a constitutional republic, sovereignty belongs to the people. The president derives legitimacy directly from the citizens. The people are not spectators in democracy. They are a source of authority. The right to choose the head of state directly is not a procedural detail, Mr. Speaker. Let's be clear. It is a democratic principle. The people should elect the president. Parliament should not replace the people as the source of presidential legitimacy. If there are deficiencies, Mr. Speaker said, regarding electoral administration, we must strengthen electoral administration. But we do not resolve challenges by removing citizens from the center of democratic process. Honorable Speaker, I am equally concerned by provisions which weaken the independence of electoral administration in this country. We created, by national consensus, an independent institution for the running of elections. Why? Because, Mr. Speaker said, we were coming from a history and a vicious cycle of disputed elections in this country. We decided as a nation, let us allow an independent player, let us allow an independent institution to run the way power is exchanged and the way power is renewed in this country. We seek to go back, Mr. Speaker, to the very ills that was cured by the creation of an independent commission. Mr. Speaker said, we stand here not because we are so happy with the commission's work in the past, but Mr. Speaker said, our cause of contention is the manner in which the independent institution has been capacitated to run elections, is the manner in which there's been undue interference with the running of elections. Mr. Speaker, the suggestion to have the Registrar General run the voters' roll and safekeep the voters' roll and register voters, put the executive back into electoral processes, one thing which we fought against by coming up with the 2013 Constitution. The solution, Mr. Speaker, to institutional challenges is not to weaken.
Honorable member, you have 1 extra minute, please.
Mr. Speaker, I will adhere to the one minute. Historically, Mr. Speaker, the challenges that we have faced as a nation, in as far as elections are concerned, they have been embedded in the overreach of the executive in the function, because when we talk of an election, we go pre-election, during election process, and the post-electoral process. All these functions are anchored in the judgment of a free, fair, and credible election. Mr. Speaker, we must not be retrogressive in our proposal for amendments. I note, Mr. Speaker, that there is also a proposal to amend the function and role of the military in constitutional democracies and constitutional defense. Mr. Speaker, I must remind that the government of the day is a direct beneficiary of the clause that gives power to the military to uphold the Constitution. We must not forget that. Now, we see attempts at coup-proofing. We see attempts at limiting the role of the military. probably Vanamahobho, Mr. Speaker, say. We are opposed to that amendment. We believe that the constitution of this country must be upheld. And whenever there is executive overreach or attempt by the executive to interrupt the very structure and architecture of our constitution, power must be given to those that they can protect the citizens, Mr. Speaker said. That is protecting the sovereignty of this country. That is protecting the integrity of constitutionalism in this country, Mr. Speaker said. I know your time is up, and I submit.